Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial from Cisca Stitches. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a basic shirt dress pattern, and also I'm going to show you how you can create your yoke and also make pleats at the back of your dress. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're an old subscriber, welcome back. Please click the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you get notified whenever we post new videos. And now we can go ahead and begin the tutorial process. So guys, this is my pattern paper and this is what we have. So right here is our center front line, and from that center front line outwards we have a 3-inch measurement, which is going to serve as our button placket allowance. And so we took all our measurements from the center front line. So from the center front line to that point is where we have our shoulder measurement divided by 2. That's what we have there. And then from that shoulder line at the top to this point is our armhole measurement. So where our armhole ends is where we took our horizontal bust measurement, and that's what we have there. So that's the line we have there. And then we squared our shoulder up so we could create our armhole. So we have our shoulder to our waist, we also have our shoulder to our hip, and also from our shoulder to where the pattern ends, which is going to form the length of the dress. So guys, I'll be taking a neck width and neck depth of 3 inches. So neck depth of 3 inches, neck width of 3 inches for the front pattern. So I'm just going to measure and show you guys. So that's what we have. So you can go ahead and measure the neckline for whoever you're going to be making a shirt dress for. Measure the neck depth and measure the neck width, and then just go ahead and mark it on your pattern. So guys, we are going with a shoulder slant of 1 inch as usual, and then I'm going to connect that from that neckline point. I'm going to connect it to our shoulder slant. So guys, whatever we have left, I have 8 inches. I'm going to divide that into 2, giving us 4. I'm going to mark half an inch inwards as we always do for our front armhole pattern. Then I'll go ahead and mark my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 9 inches. And then I'll get my French curve, connect the bust points that I've marked through the 0.5 inches to the shoulder slant. So once we have that, guys, I just want to go ahead and explain this to you guys. My bust span or nipple to nipple measurement is 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So that's what we have from the center front line to that point. And that same line, that 3.5 inches, is running from the bust through the waist to my hip. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark my darts because I want to have a dart on this dress. I'll just go ahead and mark it, and then I'll be marking 1 inch below my bust, which will come down to my own bust point measurement. So you can just go ahead and mark 1 inch below your bust and 1.5 inches, and then I'll come to my hip and then mark 3 inches above my hip measurement. So these points will form the length of my dart. So I'll just go ahead and connect the points together. From the center front to this point is my bust. From the center front to this point is my waist measurement divided by 4, and also my hip measurement divided by 4. So I just use a pencil to connect the points so you guys can see, but that is not what we're going to be working with. So I want this shirt dress to be a little free, so I'm going to be adding some ease allowance to this, not seam allowance, ease allowance. So for my bust area, I'll be going with 1 inch. So that's what I've marked right there. Then I'm going to come to my waist. Remember, I took a dart right there, so I'll be marking my dart allowance first. So I'm going to mark 1 inch right there, and then for my waist, the ease I'm going to take is going to be 1.5. I'm not going to take the same thing I took for the bust because I don't want the dress to be, very, very shapy. So I'm going to mark 1 inch, 1.5 inches, sorry. You can go with 2 inches, you can go with 1.75 inches. So I'm going to come to my hip now. My hip measurement divided by 4 is already marked right there. That's 10.25, but I'll be adding 1 inch of ease to that, the same thing I marked for my bust. So I'm just going to mark that right there, mark that 1 inch, and then I'm just going to go ahead and connect hip to waist and then my waist to my bust. So guys, I'm going to take the entire measurement at my hip area, which is 11.25, and then I'll come to the bottom of my pattern and mark that same 11.25 inches right there. But I'm not going to be working with that. That's why I'm using a pencil to connect the points together. So what I'm going to do is to mark 1/2 inch inwards like so, just to give it a little shape. You can go with 0.75 inches, you can go with 1/2 inch, but I'll be working with 0.5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect that 0.5 inches all the way to my hip. So you can sharpen points at your waist, at your hip where necessary, so it is curved. So guys, I'm just going to come right here. I want to curve the side seam a bit. So I'll be marking 2 inches, but you can go with 3 inches, you can go with 4 inches. So like I said, I'll be going with 2 inches, and then what I'm going to do is to curve it all the way to the bottom, and I'm using my French curve for that. So this is what we have right here for our front piece, and now we can go ahead and cut out our pattern. So remember that we have a 3-inch placket after the center front, so put that in mind while you're cutting your pattern so you don't cut it out. And this is what we have, guys, for the front piece. And now we can move to the back piece. So guys, for the back piece, you can see a spacing right there, and what I have is 2 inches, and I'm going to explain what we're going to be using those 2 inches for. This line right here is our center back line, and it is from that center back line that we took all our measurements for our shoulder, our bust, our waist, our hip. The same thing we did for the front. So from that line I took all my measurements. So guys, I'll be going with a 3-inch neck width for the back. The same thing, it has to be the same thing like the front. And then I have my 1-inch shoulder slant right here. So just go ahead and connect the points together. But for the back, for the neck depth for the back piece, we are going with 1/2 inch. Is a standard for anybody. So I'll just go ahead and connect it to this point. So that's what we have for the neck depth, 1/2 inch. So next thing I'm going to do is divide the rest of my armhole into 2. So I'm going to mark 4 inches. And then I'll come to my bust area, mark my bust measurements divided by 4. So I'm just going to mark that right there. Then I'll use my French curve to connect that point to the middle of my armhole. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to be adding the 1-inch ease to my bust area. Now for the back, we are not marking that. So I'll just mark my waist measurement divided by 4. And I'll be adding 2-inch of ease. For the front, I added 1.5 inches, but I'll be adding 2 inches for the back. I'm adding an extra 1/2 inch. So for my hip, I'll mark my hip measurement divided by 4, which is 10.25, and then I'll be adding my 1-inch ease, which is the same thing as my bust. And of course, I'll just go ahead and connect hip to waist and then waist to bust. So I'll curve points where necessary around my around my waist. I'll just go ahead and curve that because it is not sharp. So I'll take the entire measurement here, which is 11.25, and then I'll just come to the bottom, mark that 11.25 from the center back, come in by 1/2 inch at the bottom, the same thing we did for the front, come in by 1/2 inch, and then I'll just go ahead and connect the bottom to my hip just connect it like so, and then I'm going to be coming up by 2 inches like we did for the front to create the curve, and I'll be using the front curve as a pattern to curve out the back. So that's what I'm going to do, so that it is very symmetrical. It is the same. So guys, once we are done with that, I'll come here now and work on our yoke. So for the yoke, I'll be using the middle of my armhole, but you can go ahead and raise it up. From my bust to that middle of my armhole is 4 inches. So I'll just move to my center back line and mark 4 inches from my bust. And like I said, you can increase it to 5 inches if you want your yoke to be that length. So once I have that marked now, I'll just go ahead and join the points. I'm going to label that my yoke. Very important, because we're going to cut that out. So I extended the line to that 2-inch spacing that we have, and now I'll go ahead and explain that. So this 2-inch spacing is what we are going to pleat at our center back by the time we're sewing this on fabric. So that is why we have that 2-inch there. You can go ahead and do without it if you don't want to pleat the back, and you can even make that 1.5 inches. You can make that 1 inch. That is entirely up to you. So I have that 2-inch there, and that is what I'm going to work with. So once we are done with this part now, I'll go ahead and work on the shoulder. So you notice that for some shirts, you see the shoulder seams in front. You get, it's not resting on the shoulder, is in front. So what I'll be doing is I'll be subtracting 1.25 inches from my front shoulder. So from the armhole area, I'll mark 1.25 inches. I'll come to the neckline area, mark 1.25 inches. You can go with 1 inch, but I'm going with 1.25 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark the point. So this 1.25 inches that we marked, we are going to cut it out, but we are going to be replacing it on the back shoulder slant area. So I'm just going to come right here to the back, mark 1.25 inches right there from that point, come at the top here, mark 1.25 inches as well, and then I'll just go ahead and join the points. So this is what we have, guys. And like I said, we'll be cutting this 1.25 inches from the front. I'll just fold that so that I can explain to you guys. And you need to make sure that that point matches the back piece, because you'll be sewing it together. It has to match. So ensure that it matches. So now what I'm just going to do is to fine tune my neckline so it is curved and that area is not pointed. And once we're done with this, guys, see where I'm cutting my pattern from. I'm cutting the yoke out, and then I'm going to be writing on fold, because we'll be cutting the back piece on fold. So this yoke part, we're going to cut it on fold, and you can see that I'm cutting that 2-inch off because we don't need it for the upper part of our yoke. And you can see that I've left the 2 inches for this part because we'll be needing it for the pleating. So I've cut it out on the yoke part. I've written on fold because we'll cut it on fold, and then I'll just go ahead and cut out the rest of my pattern, following the curves where necessary. So it's very important that you cut your pattern as accurate as possible, and of course add your seam allowances when you're cutting this on your fabric. So I'm writing my seam allowances where necessary. I have 0.5 inches all around this yoke part, with the exception of the part that will be cutting on fold. We're not adding any seam allowance there. And then I'll come here for the yoke joining, write 0.5 inches, write 0.5 inches at the armhole. Then for the side seam, you can go with 1 inch, you can go with 1.5 inches, but I'll be going with 1 inch. And then for the bottom as well, you can go with 1 inch, but if you're using a bias to conceal the raw edges, you can go with 0.5 inches. So guys, I'm cutting out that 1.25 inches for the front piece. So I'm going to go ahead and add my seam allowances for the front piece as well. And then I just want to explain this part, shoulder part to you guys. So here's the back, and I'm just going to align it to the front piece. And then what I'm going to do is just fold it by the 0.5 inch seam allowance. This is just a demonstration. So once I fold it like so, you will see that the seam is falling towards the front. So that is how it is going to be when you sew it on your fabric. So this is just a demonstration for you guys. basically we are done with our pattern making process, guys. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications so that you get notified whenever we post new videos, and I'll be seeing you in our next video. Bye guys.